Okay.
What is happening? Why are you guys the tabs open?
Was our holding music?
I don't understand.
I mean, yeah, it's like the Jeopardies, the Janchi Jeopardy.
I didn't even say. Okay, whatever. Yeah, Nathan's does look a little hot in a couple spots. It's fine.
Does?
Go.
It's fine. Yeah, Nathan, roll in,
music.
bro.
Okay. Nope, not gonna do the theme
Not for
music.
the opening, just for the transition.
Okay.
We don't have the opening theme music. We
also
established
Because
before.
we've always got the opening tag thing.
Because it's the eye of the tiger, it's the thrill of the foot. Is that the right lyrics?
Close enough.
Yeah, that's right. Crushed it.
All right, go.
You're listening to the Janchi Show, hosted by 3 Korean American adoptees diving headfirst into what it means to be adopted, Korean, American, and more. And now, here's your hosts, Nathan, Patrick, and KJ.
Welcome back to the Janchi Show. I am one of your hosts, Nathan Nowak, along with my co-hosts. Say hello, guys.
Hello, guys.
Hello, guys.
KJ just waved.
Oh, no.
It's like, so just in case you guys all were interested, yeah, KJ just waved at you. So, how you guys doing? You ready for another episode of our double-digit Janchi Show?
One
the
last
final
double-digiter.
episode.
Our final double-digit.
double-digit episode.
I like
That
it.
flowed really well. It was perfect.
That did really
Yes.
flow.
We know how syllables
Patrick-
work. It's fine.
Patrick, what's Janchi mean?
Janchi means to celebrate. And wait, no. Yes.
Whoa. Burp.
No. Janchi
What are
means
you, like an
to
adoptee or
feast.
something?
Yeah. So Janchi means to feast, and that's something that we do here on the show, but we also like to say that it means to celebrate because we are 3 Korean American adoptees, and what we do on the show is celebrate our shared culture and heritage as each one of those different identities and beyond. And that is what Janchi means, I think. 99
nice.
episodes in, still don't know.
It's okay.
Still
I'm
a little
sure
fuzzy, if
I
we're
mean,
being
there's
honest.
some that probably are watching and or listening and don't know how to spell it. I mean, honestly, every time I've said it to somebody,
Jon.
yeah, I think I'm wondering if they think I'm saying like a name, like John Chi, or something like that. But
The
I don't know.
John Cheese.
John Cheese. For example, when I try to do something with, like Amazon Echo or something like that, it doesn't recognize it. So
Are you saying Amazon Echo / Alexa isn't fluent in Korean
Korean, exactly.
and Konglish?
Saying, yeah, Amazon Echo is racist. No, I'm
Whoa, hot takes.
Dang.
Hot takes by
I think all it
Nathan.
does is
Drop 'em.
establish that AI is not at the capacity
Not yet.
of sentience. So, but
Wow.
also what Nathan said, I guess.
Also what Nathan said.
Jeez.
That was
All right, great start to this show. Great
It's
kickoff to this episode.
Well, so, I mean, what do you guys want to chat about? You guys just got back seeing each other along with Jerry in Dallas for a fun little podcasting event. What was that all about?
Yeah, I have no
We-
idea what they were here for. I assumed they came in to see me.
Oh, yeah.
We did go to Dallas, Jerry and I, to see KJ and Sarah. And then as just a little side thing that we did,
They're like,
we went
we
and
need to leave the burbs. We want to see the big city.
Right.
Yeah.
We wanted to go see the skyscrapers of Dallas. And so we went to Dallas. And while we were in Dallas, admiring the skyscrapers, we were also speaking at a conference called Podcast Movement. So as you could probably guess from the title,
Yes.
it is a podcasting conference. A conference about podcasts. And we were, Jerry organized a
Exercising while
panel.
podcasting.
Yes. Jerry had organized a panel of Asian American podcasters. And our panel was called More Than a Monolith, about Asian American storytelling in podcasting.
Very cool.
How well attended was it? What was like a key takeaway from the moment? I don't know. Like, tell me about the speaking at the event.
Yeah, I think it was pretty well attended. I honestly, there was lights shining from the back to like front light the stage, and they were literally so bright that I could not see the back half of the room. So I don't know who all was sitting back there.
Okay, but what did it feel like though?
It felt good. It felt like there was a lot of people there, and
Felt like
were
there
also
were 1,000 people there. Holy cow!
yeah. I said a lot of people.
It felt like there were
Tens of
million
people.
It felt like there were tens of people there. But they were also live streaming it, so to the many people who were watching it from home.
10 more?
10 more people online. It was. I really liked it because I was sitting up there with 3 other people who were representing or coming from a different perspective of Asian America than I was. I was talking about it through an adoptee lens. Randy Kim, Southeast Asian and queer, host of the Banh Mi Chronicles, was there talking about his podcast through those lenses. Simi Shah, host of South Asian Trailblazers, was there talking about it from the lens of a South Asian. And Misasha Suzuki Graham, who is the host or one of the hosts of Dear White Women, she is biracial, Japanese, and white. And she was there talking about it from that lens. And then Jerry, of course, moderating the panel as the straight Korean dude, representing that, for the straight East Asian men, as the Dear Asian American host.
You're saying straight, like in terms of like a sexual orientation.
Oh yeah,
but it made me just think of just straight up Korean.
Yeah,
no
just
further
straight
adjectives.
up Korean.
Just straight up dude. Just a straight up dude.
He took a DNA test. He's 100%
Yes, but no, we had a really good conversation. The biggest takeaway I had was that we really only had like 43 minutes to talk. And so there's 5 of us on stage, and there's not a lot of time to get through a lot. But I think that Jerry did a really good job of, getting us to share really our whys for what we do the podcast for each of us, and then what we would hope that people could take away or from, especially not only from an Asian American standpoint of like, hey, what can I do to like start my own show, but just from maybe like an ally's perspective of like, where do I go and how do I find these different voices? Yeah, so it was really cool. It was a really great conversation. Afterwards, there was one person in the crowd who came up and was literally overcome by emotion, just had to hug all of us because she was basically feeling seen for the first time. She was biracial, white, and Korean, and it was super powerful to be able to just hear her share a little bit. She was like, I just kind of came here on a whim for my own show, which is she like hosts like a true crime podcast. But she
Everything is
was
not
just
okay in Oklahoma.
I think she was just doing something about the Denver airport. That's her next episode.
Ooh, yeah.
Got to put that on. Hopefully, if I can find that and put that in the show notes. But anyways, I just wanted to say that it was super powerful because it reminded me of those early Clubhouse times where I was connecting with a lot of adoptees who we were all like hearing stories of people coming out of the fog and like starting to come to terms and ask these questions in real time. It was like she had that moment while we were talking on stage and just like listening to the stories. And it's just a reminder of like why we do what we do. It's, to help that one person who was like, I've never felt this before, or felt like I heard my story or seen my reflection before until now. So it was really powerful for that to happen.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Amazing.
Thanks.
The voice is a powerful thing.
I think
the voice is a powerful thing.
Being seen and like that level of representation is really powerful. And I still like wrestle with that personally about like representation. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's the being raised by white people in me, but like I still kind of like I go back and forth between like celebrating it and then also like wanting more. And I don't know where I find my own sensibility in terms of like, do I just have to love everything? Have we gotten to a place now where we're choosy, like that kind of thing? Like, I think podcasting is a space, and maybe just, I guess, broadly Asian America is a space where I'm really excited about any adoptee representation. And I am really excited about how even in the Asian American community, we're breaking out and breaking down the monolith idea of what it means to be Asian American. I wouldn't be surprised if in my lifetime, like we see the disaggregation of that term or for that term to like begin to mean new things politically as we move forward as a nation. Just because like I think as we find our voices and as we use platforms like the internet and all the platforms of the internet to amplify our own voices, I'm excited to see like what that does for our community and how we can push to be more accepting, more affirming, more aware of like the diversity within like the continent that is Asia, like this massive land mass that we all are from, in some way, shape, or form. So I'm really excited about that. But it's also exciting just to hear those small stories and those small victories of like feeling seen for the first time. I think that's really wonderful.
Well, on top of that too, you talked about, well, obviously the title of the talk was More Than a Monolith, but you talked about that understanding that we actually are more than that and having that conversation. And today, one of my coworkers, they asked me about the conference and what it was about. And I told them the title of the thing, and they're like, what does that mean? Like, what does it mean to be, what do you mean Asians is monolith? Yeah. So I like had to break it down for them. And it was just, I didn't really think about it in the moment, but when you said that, it just made me think of that as like those conversations starting to happen even through mine own body. I'm saying mine own because I've just watched Game of Thrones.
Because you just finished writing the Bible. So
anyways. But yeah, there's just made me think of that.
Yeah, I mean the terminology out there that I joke at the beginning of the show when I talked about, Janchi and not really knowing how it's spelled, but a lot of people don't know what the word it even means. I mean, I had a conversation this weekend about it, and I find myself always jumping back to the dol janchi because that's like the first time I've ever heard it. Even though I know now there's a janchi soup, and there's other uses of it, but but explaining to other Korean adoptees or other other friends or family just what the word janchi means and stuff like that, I think is. I love that we can share the knowledge that we've learned over the last 2 years to others and just continue to spread that education and the terminology. And then, of course, learning more terminology and ideas and stuff from going to these like podcast conferences and community and talking to people online.
Yeah, and I think it really requires like our own community to lead those conversations in terms of breaking down like ideas of monoliths and things like that. Like it's just a way that like that idea can then propagate and spread throughout the general public consciousness of America, right? Like when you think about Asian America being a political identity to aggregate a small community for larger numbers to affect change on a grand political scale, like that's all well and good, but then you have to like be able to like once the general populace, I guess, gets a hold of what it means to quote unquote be Asian American, but like none of the people who suddenly find themselves under that term really know what that means, and they're like, well, I mean, I guess that's me, but then nobody feels seen by that except maybe like East Asians, maybe, you know what I mean? And so I think what we've seen, as I've read in Rise, or listened to in Rise, like what we've seen in the past 3 decades is in pop culture, those conversations are happening. And like these voices are like people from within their own communities are standing up to be recognized and are standing up to claim their spot and say, actually, let me tell you what it's like for me and my people, or like, actually, let me tell you what it's like for me and my people, and you get all these diverse stories. And the better that we are as a community to listen and to learn, the better we're able to represent the community as a whole. Because we're like, what, I can actually, because I think we then necessarily narrow our scope of talking to say, what, I can actually really only speak to the Asian American experience of a transracial adoptee. And even within that, like I'm kind of in this type of space, or like I can really only speak to what it means to be South Asian, as an Asian American. Or I could say like, I've heard some people say this, but I'm by no means the expert. Whereas maybe before we might have been more apt or more prone to just use blanket statements, be like, as an Asian American, you're like, well, I mean, we can add a lot more nuance, and we have the privilege now of being able to point to stories because no one is gatekeeping us. Like in terms of the internet isn't gatekeeping us from telling our stories necessarily, we might have to wait for that special viral moment, but I think we do have a real privilege and an opportunity to tell our stories, and even I think if it weren't for the past 5 years then like adoptees wouldn't even have gotten as much of a mention in Rise as they do because of like certain things that have happened in Asian American pop culture and broadly in America at large. That like I'm like, yeah, this is nice. Like it feels more than like, oh, also there's adoptees. It's like, well, there actually are some adoptees, and I want to highlight that point of diversity when we can, and where it's appropriate, even while we're telling a broader story, which I think is really cool.
I think that on a flip side of it, the only thing that I would have to add is that sometimes I think with this knowledge comes this added pressure within other parts of my social circles outside of Asian America.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Exactly. Well, exactly. And that I think honestly, now that I'm talking about it out loud, it's almost like the pressure is kind of that responsibility to make sure that I am sharing and talking about these experiences with that nuance. And yeah, I don't know. It just feels like, I don't know, I feel like adoptees especially can feel an added weight to be the bearer of all the knowledge about cultures that they're only maybe first starting to unpack and understand themselves. And I feel like that can be a lot. And I think I'm probably thinking about that because I just wrote about going back to Korea today and about when people like ask questions about like, oh, why did you wait so long to go back? Or, oh, don't you know the language yet? Or stuff like, are you going to do a birth search? Like, even though they can be well-intentioned, it's like it puts pressure. I feel pressure on me to answer in a certain way or to feel a certain way, or like I should have done this or that already. And it's just like, that sucks.
Would you prefer them just to ask, so what are your plans? What are you going to do?
I don't know.
Would you
what I would
prefer them to
ask.
say good for you and then move on?
I mean, I think that's the thing. And I
Not
talked
ask
about,
questions.
like, I don't think that people or most people are coming to that with bad intentions. I think that, a lot of that is just my own internal whatever telling me that is traumatizing, but it still is. Like, I can't help but say that causes that to happen.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I would want other people to ask, just that to be mindful when asking.
Yeah. And I guess it depends on who's coming from too. Like,
Right.
people specifically or yeah. I'm really happy with the, just the steps that I've taken out here in Denver and the community that I've noticed. I did actually go to a Korean class.
Sorry, I just felt like I'm really happy with the steps that I've taken. Self-applause.
To find a Korean adoptee community out here in Denver, because I actually, when I moved here from California, I didn't think there would be that large of one. And, we did an event this weekend that was actually organized by Midnight and Glenn from, who we know from Con and from our show. And Midnight had
Glenn Morey is who he's talking about.
Yeah.
New listeners who don't
For
know
the listeners at home who don't know,
don't know,
and haven't listened to our back catalog,
or go find Side by Side Project. Yeah, plenty of video content there to browse. But they organized a little event, and there was 15 of us, I think, that showed up. And it was I just really enjoy seeing adoptees in little pods like this. It's a little picnic, little potluck. And it's just fun. I mean, I like that. I mean, I like the big event like Con too, but I like these smaller ones as well. And I really hope, that the community continues to grow a little bit here in Denver. And, there's always questions, always new questions, always asking something new to each person about the adoption community, or just about adoption, or about Korean culture. Going back to your not a monolith thing, this is every time you meet more Korean adoptees, that just hones in on that phrase that we are not a monolith. So.
Side note, I met Liz from Denver, and she asked me to rib you about something. I don't remember what though. So Liz, I'm really sorry. I failed you as an adoptee. We're like working together with Adoption Mosaic.
Yeah.
And she was like, I was like, what? And then, anyways.
She did tell me she met you. So yes, she's always throwing jabs at me. So
I went into this whole spiel about like
that.
oh yeah, I do like the Janchi Show, whatever. It's a podcast by a Korean. She's like, yeah, I know. I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, like I'm friends with Nathan. I was like, what?
I like that you just didn't assume that somebody would know what the show was.
Well, I didn't even know that she was an adoptee because, like, I mean, her name is Liz Kwan. So I was just like, oh man, and it was just like, oh man, and then so Sorry, Liz. I failed you as a friend and an adoptee and a co-host of the show. So
Off the show.
That's
and,
okay.
and off the show. Yeah, so
I'm
that's
sure you'll
on me.
remember.
End of
I
show.
apologize.
It's okay. I'm sure Liz will give me some more jabs. It's fine.
But speaking of other people giving me lines, we should take a break and then jump into a voicemail.
Voicemail time.
Ooh.
Okay, we're back. So I wanted to. We got a voicemail from our voicemail box. I don't know how to say
Our
the words.
voicemail
This is
box.
the second.
We
voicemail,
received
so
a voicemail in our inbox.
in our inbox of voices. So yeah,
I
so
got
we're
voices
we're
in
gonna
my
play
we
this.
inbox.
received
These are really-
a message in our voicemail.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. I'm just gonna play the voicemail. It's fine.
Hi guys, this is Sana from Memphis. Wanted to call and leave you a voicemail, send you a lot of Janchi love. I do have a question inspired by your most recent episode, which was just KJ and Nathan, depending upon
Not
when
a
you're
most
listening
recent
to the
episode.
voicemail. But the question is, what would younger you, maybe middle school you or high school you, what would younger you think of current you? Thanks so much. Love the show. Bye.
That's awesome.
That's a great question.
That's a great
It is.
question. That's really, really fun.
I'm going to need to go address my time machine real quick, and I'll be right back.
I definitely thought you were about to be like,
I
my
know,
kid
I-
is
I
setting
thought-
things on fire. I
I
have
was
to go.
like, okay, so Nathan is gone. That's funny. That's a great
No,
question.
Teenage
From a great
teenage
person.
Us. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
middle school. I think
Love
middle
Sana.
school or
Middle
high
school.
school is such a
Mm.
specific moment in time too. So,
I mean,
I'll
I think of
jump
the
in.
mentality that I was in at that time, and it definitely was nothing Korean adoptee related. I mean, it was very minorly Asian adoptee, or Asian.
Well, just
American
who
adoption.
were you as a middle schooler? How would you describe yourself? Not even with those things.
I was always concentrated on sports, playing, table
tennis.
tennis, and skiing. So, I mean, I picked a college based on how close it was to the mountains. So,
I like it. So, but okay, so interested in sports, would you say you were more on the jock scale? Is that an appropriate term to use? Jock scale or
Yes.
just call it
other
athletic
of-
side.
Yeah,
Just
I
call
don't
it
know, but I don't want to say
athletic.
unathletic, non-athletic.
Athletic interest.
Were you a jabroni?
Liberal
Or
arts.
you or
There you go.
not?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
If you consider somebody who plays table tennis a jabroni, I don't think so.
Jabronis live outside of any
Yeah.
type of interest group. There are,
Oh,
I know
They don't
some
play specific
real
sports.
musicians who are like absolute jabronis and I think are really gross. Even though they're like fantastically talented musicians, I'm just like, this is a terrible way of being. I don't like this. So
That's funny.
No, I mean, I think if I was looking at myself, I would probably be proud. I think I would be in awe a little bit of what I've accomplished, even though it's later in life than my middle school me might have thought I would have done. I mean, a middle school me thought I was going to get married and have kids a lot sooner. Middle school me probably would not expect all the physical breakdowns of older age of like, oh, I can only play a couple sets of tennis now instead of like all day.
Physical breakdowns.
So,
Wow.
I mean, it happens at a certain age. It's just, but you
Yeah.
don't expect that as a kid. So, I think you would be proud though, because I mean, I sit here, still interested in sports, still interested in technology. I got a room full of Lego. I got, so a great family. I'm close to my parents. I think they would be fascinated with that. Or he would be fascinated with that. As far as my Korean adoption topics, yeah, I think they would be in awe that I had met my biological family. I think that would be a pretty big deal. And I mean, if you saw into the future to see that might, convince that middle school me to do it sooner.
was that on your radar when you were that young, meeting your biological family?
It was, I would say, partially there, but it wasn't like a goal. It wasn't I had the standard, but I have a good family now. Why ruin it with searching for something that could be positive or negative, or or whatever. So I always just felt I was in a good place with it. And, but if I could know that I was going to find something and know that, that I had, 6 siblings waiting to, interact with me, then I might have done it sooner. So
foresight is 2020, as they say.
yeah, pretty
Foresight
much.
is 120/20.
What about you guys? What were you doing in middle school, high school? What was your focus? What did you want to do?
It depends on what point of middle school it was. In 6th grade, I was really trying to fit in hardcore because it was like I reset my whole school experience, social experience. I don't remember 6th grade very fondly. 7th grade was when I feel like I started to have all the friends that I would have, which was nice. And then 8th grade, I felt like I'd come into all of that. I don't know what middle school me would think of me now. I always answer this question from a musical standpoint because middle school Patrick would be like, "What the F are you listening to now?"
Or, what bands have you seen?
You'd be like, "What happened to all the ska?"
Yeah.
I don't know. I listened to a lot of Pink Floyd in middle school somehow.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was. Yeah, I
Seem
like
too young
old,
to listen to
like
that.
oldies rock, kind of. I guess if that's considered oldies. But
Classic.
I don't know. I mean, I was not. I mean, when I think about middle school now, all I can think about it is just how difficult it was, but how I never talked about or thought about that at all.
Mhm.
I really look at that time now as being like a really dark period in my life of just trying to like figure it out and not figuring it out in any healthy or good way. But back then, like Nathan, I was very consumed with sports. Like I played basketball and football, and I ran track, which I would continue to do in high school. So that took up a lot of my time.
You ran
And then
a
like
little track?
validation from
Okay.
girls, yeah, like that was a whole thing. That took up a lot of my time too because all I was trying to do was fit in and make everybody like me. To know that so I could know that I liked myself because I needed that validation from there. So I think that younger me would be very confused, but I hope in the same way proud that this me would be proud that I had gotten to this point, I guess. But I don't think younger me would even be comprehending that I would have to go in this direction. I don't know if any of that made sense, so I apologize to everybody that just listened to that.
It made like 80% sense.
Sorry. I don't know. I guess I'm just in this really deep unpacking part of my journey.
I've got a whole unpacking conversation that is an off-air conversation that will eventually probably become an on-air conversation, but I can't for like not welfare, but like personal, good, healthy wellness reasons.
Sure.
But off-air, because
sure.
we're friends, we can get into it. Yeah, so I think my middle school self would be ecstatic that my high school self got a girlfriend.
Nice.
Who is currently sitting over my shoulder. What? So kind of in the same way. I was like, blast from the past 5. I was in middle school. I was like, kind of similarly, just like I really wanted like girls to like me. I think I wanted to feel attractive because like middle school is probably when I felt like the most, I mean, unsurprisingly, the most awkward, the most unattractive, the most like, I don't know, like a prepubescent giraffe. You're just like, what do I do with my body? What is, like all this stuff. And it was just, but I remember 6th grade, not really knowing how to dress myself or any of that stuff. And then I went to a private school that required uniforms, so it didn't matter as much. And then like in high school, that's like the time that I decided like, you know what, I'm going to like set down my searching for Korean identity because I'd spent like the previous 10 years trying to reconcile being Korean, being really proud of being Korean, kind of all that stuff, but then feeling so awkward around Asian Americans and like, so in high school, I decided to just set that down and lean into being a part of my family, being a part of my religion, I guess being a musician. I'm just as angsty now as I was then. So that much, like in that sense, nothing has changed. I don't know. I think if I had the chance to talk to high school KJ, he would be shell shocked at where I am now, and hopefully curious about the journey that I've been on. But there's no way that I could have foreseen any of this happening. But I think I hope that middle school and high school KJ would think that current me is cool. I feel cooler now than I did then. Like, I feel like I kind of like I peaked or like started the peak in college and then really peaked in 2018, and then I've just plateaued. Might be slowly declining, but yeah, I think that's where I'm at now. But yeah, hopefully I hope that I deal with humans as gracefully as as previous younger KJ would have hoped that he would still be doing. So even for all of the other things that have changed, I hope that I deal with, that I'm just as graceful now as I was then. Because I think back then, even though I was still like learning how to do it, that was like always a really important thing, was like being authentic and being gracious with people. So yeah, I don't know.
I like
You
that.
make me feel so old when you talk about going to college just like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, goodness.
That I'm a young boy. I'm the
Young boy.
Dong-sang of the show.
Dong-sang.
Thank you, Sona, for that question. That was super fun. If you want to call and leave us a voicemail, that number is 972-677-8867. Right? Yes. Got the head nod. Crushed it. I feel pretty confident, but then I roll into it. I'm like, wait, that may not be right.
It's a good number.
That's a great question.
That was a great question. I feel like I did not answer it very well.
Well,
I don't know.
You got blindsided by it. I had like a minute
Yeah.
to think about it, so maybe
That's
I should have
true.
gone first. But it's
That's
fine.
okay.
We'll just redo the past 15 minutes, and we're not going to cut any of it. So here's the.
I mean,
Take
I'll go again.
I think that's for your Instagram. Like, hey, so I did this thing on the show.
I've already talked about it.
I'm gonna try
so.
again.
Yeah.
Were you as big of a reader, Patrick, in high school?
I read a little bit. I was more in high school. That's when I started getting into comic books, like right around my sophomore, junior year. So I was more into that style of storytelling than like actual books. But then when I got into college, that's when I started to read a lot more like actual books.
Okay.
Yeah.
I used to read a lot, and then I got a laptop. I stopped. Like I've read
I know,
significantly less books after I got a laptop.
Transitioned to reading on my phone a ton, and I don't know. It was just like it was all phone reading. Even like comic books, I transitioned to like reading comic books on my phone. Super weird, but I do that all the time now. I read all the time. I read so many comics.
I mean, that Marvel app's pretty cool.
Oh yeah. I'm just plowing through comics.
I mean, as far as technology goes, I think high school me would be like, "What? You guys have pads, little phones on little pieces of paper? I mean,
you guys have a thing called the internet? I don't need these encyclopedias anymore.
What's the internet? To have a smartphone as a high schooler.
Oh, I know. I can't even imagine that.
To my growth. Yeah.
Or just I mean, I can't even imagine the social media aspect as a high schooler. I mean, you talk about gaining acceptance or trying to be liked by people, liking the social media world. I think would drive me crazy. It's like,
I feel so bad for any
I didn't
middle
get 10
schooler.
likes. Yeah.
Facebook straight up ruined me.
Yeah, like middle school is such a hard time, and the way like social media is now, it's just gotten
for sure.
I think it's gotten so much harder, specifically for that like middle school age, because you still feel awkward, but you're not allowed to like be awkward in the same way. So it's like,
right,
man,
well, I remember when Facebook first came out, and I was
sir, you don't have to flex on your age. Jeez.
I mean,
not all of us are old enough to remember,
but you could only get invited. Like that's how, and then everybody was talking about it, and then you were the last person who was getting invited, which was me, and it sucked. Like it was the worst. And then I was like, oh yeah. Anyways, another time then. Food.
Patrick's like, get me out of here, sorry, please.
Get it out of the awkward.
All right, cool.
Yeah, do food. Figure something out.
Food.
Great. Then we're back.
Yoo-hoo.
Oh, I forgot about the
Foodie,
swish
foodie,
sound.
food
I
time.
literally made the sound and I forgot about the swish sound. My bad.
The swish.
Oh, in case anyone's watching, my name, not Jerry Wan. I don't know if that makes it in the video, but I am
That's
not
a good question.
that guy.
My name
Anyways,
is
for the people
Pete.
who are listening, you probably won't hear this unless you do hear it.
Yes.
Great.
Welcome to the food channel. Hi,
Hey,
kitty
thanks.
cat. Well, we are back. Today's food that we are eating is a potato chip, I would say, because I don't think it's a cracker, but it kind of looks like a cracker. So it could be a potato
Specifically,
cracker.
a slim.
It's a
A
slim.
slim.
It says baked potato at the front. That's what that means on the potato.
Kamja.
And then I translated the last one and just said thin and crispy. So,
Yapke
Thin and crispy potato.
yeah. Made by Hai Tai.
Hey, Tay.
Hey, Tay.
Hey Tay. That's right.
As we
corrected ourselves
recently
last time,
discovered,
didn't we?
almost 100
Hey,
episodes
Tay.
in.
Sorry, Hey Tay. We've been pronouncing your name wrong this entire time.
Yeah, maybe if you stopped spelling your name all cute, we would have gotten it right.
I know. It's got that I. It threw me off. But yeah, I don't know much other than hey, it's got a Facebook page. So
Easy
all right.
open.
Easy open.
Easy
Yeah, it does
access.
say open right there in the
Got
front.
some hashtags, I think, on the box.
Yeah, I know. It's got all kinds of
Hashtags on the
stuff.
box.
Yeah.
Right?
Where are
Isn't
you
that
seeing
what it
those
is?
at?
On the front? Right there in the bottom? Isn't that like the hashtags or
Oh.
something?
I did not
Those
expect
are
there to be
definitely hashtags.
multiple packages inside there. I thought it was just going to be one big long, potato. But
Potato.
How many packages?
There's
are in here?
4.
Four?
So
Oh,
if you
okay.
look on the nutrition facts, it says in very small print, amount per one pack.
Okay,
That's how I knew that they were
so it's
packed.
one
And there's
pack.
4
Okay.
servings per container.
Then I can share them. Good
Math.
thing.
Math is
All
a
right.
wonderful thing.
I like how they stamp themselves with a little approval on the front that says "excellent product guaranteed."
Okay, so side note, this actually has nothing to do with
It's a
the
little fun.
product and everything to do with Nathan and the logistics of the show. These are mega expired.
What?
Like these expired March 21 of this year.
Well,
So
Where are you seeing that
oh,
at?
it does say that March
the side?
2022. Well, we should have gotten to them sooner, sir.
yeah, I know. I mean, were they sent?
Did you send us
after?
these
Oh, yeah,
over
I've
a
sent
year and a
these-
half ago?
I sent you these a while ago. Yeah. So, well, that's okay. I don't think it'll
So
be
just a full disclosure.
stale.
If we all
or
get sick and die,
rotten. It's a
it's
cracker.
because we decided to eat an expired cracker. It
It's
looks
really
like
thin,
a
though.
Pringle.
That
but
is
it's
really
not,
thin. That's
uh,
like
It smells like a communion wafer.
it almost looks like one too.
It looks like a flat Pringle.
It was very.
All right, you guys try it first, and then I'll think about it. I'll see how it goes with you, and then I'll think about maybe doing it.
I'm melting.
My mouth
It looks
is
like
burning.
it's dry, like a saltine, but
It is.
judging
It's-
by
oh,
your
it's
mouth
really good.
sounds.
It's actually it's got more sugar in it than I expected.
Does it?
Yeah, it's got a sweetness to it.
Yeah. Okay. Picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah,
I can taste a little bit of that butter.
Yeah,
It's got some like
I
I
mean,
don't know, like the sour cream and oniony taste, kind of.
I'm
shortening.
getting like a bleach hit right at the beginning. Well, after that, it tastes good. Well, maybe mine are the expired ones.
I'm worried on the ingredients where it says mixed edible oil. Like, is there a not edible oil that's in there too?
Yes, the oil that you put in cars.
Okay, great.
That's the bleach I think I'm tasting.
That's the bleach.
That's the bleach. Patrick is not impressed.
No,
Not
it's
only are we-
after that initial taste, it's good. Like I'm gonna
Okay.
eat all these for sure.
Yeah.
but
I mean, it's good. So here's my closest correlation, I guess, that I feel like it's similar to a very thin town club cracker.
Mm.
You know,
Sure.
the little
Similar.
oval.
similar.
Yeah, the oval ones. Those are thicker, but these are like kind of thinner versions of that.
I'm
That's what
telling
I'm
you, there's
thinking.
something at the top of it that's not great, but then the rest of it is fine.
I know what you're saying. I don't know. I like pretty immediately move through. Are you also only eating one at a time?
Yes,
Because
Mhm.
I'm eating like 3 or 4 at a time. So maybe that's
too many.
helpful.
Yeah.
It's not like a saltine challenge. I'm not gonna like. It's not like hard to get down.
No,
Immediately
it's not
soak
that.
the moisture. out of
It's
your mouth.
crispier and like more solid than a saltine.
Oh shoot! I just thought about what the. Nope, it's gone. I just thought about like what the American snack equivalent is, but I lost it. R.I.P. my brain.
I was going with town cracker. But no, it's not a Ritz. Definitely not a Ritz.
No.
Yeah, I just had some Ritz today. Not the same.
No.
Mm?
Like I was thinking, it's the oval ones that you get with salads. You know,
What's the cracker that you dip into like a cheese? Maybe
The
that's really
Dunkin'
specific to my
sticks?
family. No, not Dunkaroos.
Dunkaroos.
It's like a rectangle. You can dip it into a cheese. Wheat Thins.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wheat
It
thins
tastes
are
to me like
weedier.
that.
No,
It's weedier
No.
than these.
disagree.
It tastes
Yeah.
it tastes like that to me.
Okay.
My co-hosts
agree with that.
vehemently disagree, but I think
No.
I'm right.
Town
I
Club.
can agree
No,
that
no,
it
I-
tastes like that to you.
I can agree
I mean, I'm
that.
sticking to it. Yeah. You agree that my opinion is valid?
Yes.
Mhm.
Wow.
You
Hot
can think
takes
it
here
tastes
on the
like
Janchi
whatever
Show.
you want. All right,
I'm allowed
ratings.
to
What
be
do you guys
wrong.
think? KJ, since you think it tastes like a wheat thin, what do you think? How many,
Maybe not a wheat
how
thin,
many
I think.
slim thins do you give it?
I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna go straight down the
I
middle.
hated that.
I'm gonna give it 3.25.
Down the
Uh,
middle.
No, we've
Our
established.
math is so
Definitely
good.
Definitely straight
give
down
or
the middle.
take 0.5.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's for being a hella expired product. It's still really enjoyable. So I think if I had caught it in the prime of its shelf life, it would have been quite delicious. So that's why I'm giving it 3.25 because I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about it. Maybe it's expired. Maybe it's Maybelline. I don't know. But I think it's a pretty.
Maybelline.
I think it's a decent product. I'm not going to eat more than the one package that I opened, but it's good. So 3.25.
Well, if I don't die, I'll give it to my kids.
Wow.
Great.
All right. More hot takes from
Mm.
Nathan's hot take episode.
Yeah, I mean it's good. I give it 3.75.
Wow.
little bit better.
A little
'Cause
bit
I-
better.
A little bit better, but it's not like I don't know. It's definitely not Kosamee cracker.
man.
Nothing is.
Yeah,
I would argue that
think it's
Kosamee
good.
crackers are Kosamee crackers.
I think it's good,
Eh,
but it's not quite a 4.
Debatable.
So what? Oh my, those are so.
Actually, wait, there is
Um,
a competitor to Kosamee crackers.
there
but I
is,
don't
and we had
remember.
it, and it's slipping my mind of what the brand
Yeah.
was, but
We had it.
Well, that cracker
fine.
was also good.
yeah, it
Go
was
back
one of the good ones, too.
into the
There was
archive
no
of our
Kosamee
episodes.
cracker though.
No,
That's fair. All right,
Kosamee's
Patrick,
still
bring
the
us home.
best.
All right, I'm gonna give it a 3. That initial taste just
Yeah,
is
that
what's holding it
bleach
back. But the
flavor.
rest of the cracker or the slim thin is very good.
Not to be confused
Um,
with Slim Jim.
I do think that it
You're welcome.
would. I do think
just-
that
Alley-ooped myself for that joke.
I would. I do think my rating could be amended were I to try an in expiration or pre-expired snack. So I'm going to
Peak shelf
reserve. This
life.
is 3 with an asterisk. So I'll leave it at that.
All right. Well, Nathan is playing with his food because he's on camera. Yeah, that's not bad. Not a bad snack. So if
Not
you're-
a bad snack.
If you're desiring a crispy, crunchy, potato-based
buttery.
snack, I don't think it's peanut buttery. You can go out and get yourself a.
it's buttery, but it's not
Sardine.
potatoey, which is actually funny.
Pate.
It does say potato, but guess what?
Pate.
Potato is not the first ingredient. It's wheat.
What's the first ingredient?
Wheat and then sugar.
Wheat Thin. Boom! Called it. I was right. I freaking crushed it. Get out of here.
All right. Well, you can find us anywhere on the social medias.
Hard
I'm
left
just
turn.
kidding.
All right, that's fine.
I'm
That's the
just
show,
kidding.
everybody. Thank you. There's a ramp up where I'm just
Good. That would be hilarious if we did just end the episode right there.
we just it's fine.
That's fine. Yes. What were we doing?
You were saying where people can find us.
Yeah, where
and
can they
tell
find
me
you?
that I was valid in my opinion.
I did already validate it, and then you came and gave us 2 hard flexes
And then
right there at the end because of the ingredients list.
as the master of the soundboard. It's fine.
Okay, well, you can find us on social media, on any of the social medias, I think, or most of the social medias. I'm
We're
not
not
sure.
on TikTok yet.
Not
We're
on
not on
TikTok
WhatsApp.
yet. Not
I don't
on
think
WhatsApp.
we're on Snapchat.
Not on Snapchat. All right.
All
Any
right.
of the ones that are not those.
We're not a
at
Gen
John-
Z platform.
All right.
Yeah.
Go onto social media. Go onto any social media app. Type in at Janchi Show, and if we come up, we're there. If we don't come up, we are not
We're
there.
not there. We might be. No, we're just at Janchi Show. We dropped the. It's cleaner that way.
Yeah, it's cleaner that way. And if we're not there yet, just wait longer. We may be there.
Just wait longer. Just keep hitting that refresh button.
Yeah, we're gonna join them right when they start going out of style.
If you want to send us messages, again, you can leave us a voicemail at 972-677-8867. You can also send us messages via the written word at Janchi Show at justlikemedia.com. I guess I should
It's
have
not
said
how
two.
emails. It's just
I said it
just like
Janchi
yeah.
Oh my
Show
gosh,
at
everyone's so confused
justlikemedia.com.
right now.
You can also go to janchishow.com/support to find out a number of different ways to support the show. I think you can go to janchishow.com/store to buy merch stuff for
Apparently,
us.
Patrick was going to
From
make a new
us.
T-shirt. Well, we still
I have
haven't seen
not
it
done
yet.
That was
I was-
maybe
I-
episode 30 that I said
I
I was going to do.
actually do have a request. If there are any artists out there, I would like to collab on a potential new Janchi Show shirt. Hit me up in
Love
my
it.
personal DMs because I don't want my other hosts to know about it yet. All right.
All right, I'm
you
making
can
mine.
find
So,
me-
so where
I
is
was
your
gonna say-
personal DM?
Yeah, I
at?
was gonna say my personal DMs are at KJ Relke wherever I want to be found.
Everyone's
Which
gonna
for-
make their
for
own
the
shirt.
purpose of this
Yes.
particular art project on Instagram. But generally, if you can find me at KJ Relke, I'm there. So
Fine, I'm making
Cool.
a food shirt.
We should all make our own shirts. Anyways, where can they find your DMs, Nathan?
DM me at nnowalk on Instagram, or you can just chat up with me on Facebook because I am always there.
He is always there. He is never not active
Or-
on Facebook.
wait, side
Um,
note, Nathan, do you sign any Facebook messages with your name?
a message?
Yeah, like if you send someone a message on Messenger, do you sign it with your name?
No,
Like
Okay, cool.
warm
because it
regards,
says my
comment,
name
Nathan.
on the message.
Yeah. All right. I just needed to
Wow.
know. I need to know
I
who
I
you
do-
were
think
as
that
a
was a little
person.
bit ageist.
Yeah, I know. I was
That's
like, what are
fair.
you implying?
I needed to
That
know
I
who
don't
he
know
was
how
as a
to
person.
use technologies.
Look, man, he was like, I feel so old when you talk about college being only 10 years ago. Like, hey, if we're going there, we're going there, sir.
All right, you went there. You went there.
That's the fine. It'll be out of my system by episode 100.
That's true. One episode away. You can find me on the Instagrams at Patrick in the World. You can also find me at LinkedIn, also at Patrick in the World, if you want to find me there as well. Then
He's
the
the Asian
Asian
one.
Patrick Armstrong. But fellas, we did it. 99 episodes, our last double digiter. Next time I see you, it'll be for episode 100. Very excited for that. Even though I sound like I'm not excited, I am very excited.
Also, other side note, I remember when we first started, maybe this is for next episode, but I'm sure we're going to have a next episode. So I remember when we first started,
Perfect.
Jerry told us you should name your episodes with 3 digits for when you hit the hundreds.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
was like, Psh, we'll never hit the hundreds. That's ridiculous. That's such hopeful dreaming. And here we are. Look at me now, middle school KJ, crushing it. A podcaster. You don't even know a podcast.
Maybe we should have had 4 digits, huh?
It's funny because I always was wondering. I don't
No.
remember him saying that, and I always wondered why we did this.
I do. I remember him specifically saying that, but
I was
Yeah.
like, it looks cool. I like it.
It looks cool.
it was doable. 4 digits, I don't think.
All
so.
right, cool. Well, I'm
Or
excited to take over that odometer. Always a fun time in a young boy's life, in a young podcasting boy's life, to take over that odometer. So until next week, when we come back to cross the century mark,
Janchi, heyo!
that came up so much more quickly.
It's really hard to try to time that out.
Yeah, that
Not
came
in
up super
person.
fast. Oh, well. Oh, I forgot we were on the camera. Whoops.